Shalom. My name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the vineyard. Every day, Yahweh is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to his righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of his law. Join us as we seek to be refined by his word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in his way, truth, and life. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube live stream of our Torah portion reading. I'm Adam, your host, and I welcome you. This is week 37, right in the middle of the book of Numbers. This is Shelach, and we're going to be covering Numbers chapter 13, 14, and 15. Let's start off by praising our Most High, the Most High, and offering a prayer before him. Heavenly Father, O Yahweh, we come before you in Yahushua's name. We bless you and thank you for all that you do. Thank you for opening our eyes to the wonderful matters out of your Torah in these last days. Thank you for sending your Son that we may have life. We pray that you would open our eyes and ears continually, that we may be refined by your word and we may be hearers and doers. Please guide us as we go through your Torah this evening. In Yahushua's name we bless you and say Shabbat Shalom. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. So a little shofar, never hurt anybody. All right, so here we are at Numbers 13. We'll be reading from the Sefer version, and we will be reading from the Aramaic Targums as well, doing some comparison. But this portion really is about the 12 spies, assessing the Promised Land, commandments of offerings, the story of the violation of the Shabbat, and Tzitzit. So, let's go. Numbers 13:1. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Send you men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Yasharel. Of every tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moshe, by the commandment of Yahweh, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Yasharel. And these were their names. Of the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, the son of Zakur. Of the tribe of Shimon, Shaphat, the son of Horai. Of the tribe of Yehudah, Caleb, the son of Yefuneh. Of the tribe of Yissachar, Yigal, the son of Yosef. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Paltai, the son of Raphu. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, the son of Kodai. Of the tribe of Yosef, namely of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadai, the son of Susai. Of the tribe of Dan, Amiel, the son of Gemali. Of the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Mikael. Of the tribe of Naphtali, Nachbai, the son of Vopsai. Of the tribe of Gad, Gul, the son of Makai. These are the names of the men which Moshe sent to spy out of the land. And Moshe called Husha, the son of Nun, Yahusha. And that's Husha means salvation. And that's really the root of where the Sefer's understanding, Dr. Pigeon, and I agree with him, Yahusha, right? So it's Yah saves, Yahusha. I come in my Father's name, Yahuwah, Yahusha. Anyways, for another time. But it's interesting here that the leader, not only was Caleb grafted in, but he was made the leader of Yehudah. And let's look who Caleb is. Numbers 32:12, save Caleb, the son of Yefuneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed Yahweh. So Caleb is a Kenizzite. Who is a Kenizzite? Genesis 36:11, and the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Right? Kenazite, the Kenizzite. 36:15, these were the dukes of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, firstborn son of Esau, Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz. So, it appears, I'm open to being incorrect, and if I'm incorrect, please forgive me, but it looks as though Caleb is a Kenizzite, possibly from Edom, an Edomite. So not only was he grafted in, but he was a leader of the tribe. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it appears to be. But what's interesting is, Yah wanted all people to serve him anyways. Numbers 15:15. One ordinance shall be both for you of the congregation and also for the stranger that sojourns with you, an ordinance forever in your generations. As you are, so shall a stranger be before Yahweh. Right? Anyone that wants to come and serve him, he's like, you're in. One law and one manner shall be for you and for the stranger that sojourns with you. Isaiah 56:6-7, also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahweh to serve him and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants, every one that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it and takes hold of my covenant. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, for mine house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. Acts 10:34-35, then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth I perceive that Elohim is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that fears him and works righteousness is accepted with him. And that's an amazing Abba Elohim that we serve. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 17, and Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, get you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. This is the end of summer going into fall. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehov, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the Negev, that's the desert, and came unto Hebron, which were Ahiman, Shishai, and Talmai, the children of Anak were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Tzoan in Mitzrayim. And they came to the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bore between two upon a staff, and they brought up the pomegranates of the figs. So apparently this was so fruitful, this so big, that they had two people had to carry it between a staff. The place was called Nachal Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Yasharel cut down from thence. And they returned from the searching of the land after the 40 days, and they went and came to El Moshe, and to El Ahron, and to all the assembly of the children of Yasharel, unto the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them, and unto the whole assembly, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them and said, we came unto the land where you sent us, and surely it flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. These are the giants. You might be saying giants. We'll go over that in a second. And the Amalekim dwell in the land of the Negev, and the Chittim, and the Yebusim, and the Amorim dwell in the mountains, and the Cananim dwell by the sea, and by the coasts of the Yarden. And Caleb stilled the people before Moshe and said, because you have to imagine everybody's like, yeah, the fruit of the land's good, but man, these are these big giants, and everybody's strong, and blah. And all the people were like, oh. Once again, they're like, oh, complain. And Caleb stilled the people before Moshe and said, hey, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we not be able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we are. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Yasharel, saying, the land, though, which we have gone to search it, is a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, which come of the Nephilim. Or this would be the Naphalim, the sons of Anak, which come of the Nephilim, and were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So they were scared. They were scared. You know, it's easy for us to be like, oh, why were they scared? You know, I mean, have any of us seen a giant? However, they saw the miracles that Yah did. I mean, he parted the sea and he did all these things. It's like, well, if he did all that, he could probably just blow away these things, these people, right? But let's talk about it. Let's talk about not being fearful. So this is the book of Sirach, a.k.a. Ecclesiasticus, which was included in the Apocrypha of the KJV. Consider the ancient generations, and this is Sirach 2, 10 through 14. Consider the ancient generations and see whoever trusted in Yahweh and was put to shame. Or whoever persevered in the fear of Yahweh and was forsaken, or whoever called upon him and was overlooked. For Yahweh is compassionate and full and merciful, and he forgives sins and saves in times of affliction. Woe to timid hearts and to slack hands, and to the sinner who walks along two ways. Woe to the faint heart, for it has no trust. They didn't trust him. The spies, the 10 out of the 12 didn't trust him. And therefore the people didn't trust too, because they were like, oh, though it be not sheltered. Woe to you who have lost your endurance. What will you do when Yahweh punishes you? And certainly they get punished. We are to trust him. We are to know, even in our day, we may not have seen some of these visible things, but certainly, I mean, who of us have seen Yah do miracles in our lives? I know I've seen them, so we should trust in him. Move forward and trust in him. Okay. So we talked about giants. Giants we find in Genesis 6, 1 through 4. And it came to pass, when the men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim, Benai Elohim, these are the angels, the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Right? And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that. This is Gaborim. These are large people. These are giants. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare them children, and the same became mighty men, which were men of old, men of renown. We get a little clearer picture of this in Enoch 6, so Genesis 6, now Enoch 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said one to another, come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then sware they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And there were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations. And these are their names. I'm not even going to go over them. Chapter 7, and all the others together with him took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into them, and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells. There's a lot of speculation of exactly how tall they are, but they were pretty tall, right? These were pretty tall. Who consumed all the acquisitions of men, so they ate up all the fruit and the vegetables and the probably all the cattle and whatever. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. They're like, we're hungry, we're going to eat you. They began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and to drink the blood, and the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. So, yes, there was literal giants in those days. Here, we're going to do the Targums. I want to read, interesting here. We're talking about the grapes. Now that place they call the stream of the cluster, from the branch which the sons of Israel cut down there, and the wine was dropping from it like a stream, dropping from the grapes like a stream. Here we go. And they recounted him and said, we went into the country to which you did send us, and it indeed produces milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. But the people who inhabit the country are strong, and the fortified cities they inhabit are very great. And we saw also there the sons of Anak, the giant. The Amalekites dwell there in the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites, and the mountains. But the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the bank of the Jordan. Let's see. Yeah, so it is a land that kills its inhabitants with diseases, and all the people who are in it are giants, masters of evil ways. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, and the race of the giants, and we appeared to ourselves to be as locusts, and so we appeared to them. So just a little couple snippets in the Targums. Okay, let's go to chapter 14. Okay, where are we? Numbers 14, and all the assembly lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Yashrael murmured against Moshe and against Aharon. And the whole assembly said unto them, Would to Elohim that we had died in the land of Mitzrayim, or would to Elohim that we had died in this wilderness. And wherefore has Yahweh brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our women and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return to Egypt, to Mitzrayim? And they said one to another, Let us make a captain. Let us return to Mitzrayim. Boy, oh boy, Yahweh hated this murmuring. Think about it. Put yourself in his shoes for a moment. It's impossible, I know. But think about all the things he did for them. And then at every turn, they just don't trust him, and they just want to whine and complain. 2 Ezra 1, 12 through 23. But speak to them and say, Thus says Yahweh, Surely it was I who brought you through the sea and made safe highways for you, where there was no road. I gave you Moses as leader and Aharon as priest. I provided light for you from a pillar of fire and did great wonders among you, yet you have forgotten me, says Yahweh. Thus says El Shaddai, the quails were assigned to you. I gave you camps for your protection, and in them you complained. You have not exulted in my name at the destruction of your enemies, but to this day you still complain. Where are the benefits which I bestowed on you? When you were hungry and thirsty in the wilderness, did you not cry out to me, saying, Why have you led us into this wilderness to kill us? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in this wilderness. I pitied your groanings and gave you manna for food. You ate the bread of angels. When you were thirsty, did I not cleave the rock so that waters flowed in abundance? Because of the heat, I covered you with the leaves of trees. I divided fertile lands among you. I drove out the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the Philistines before you. What more can I do for you, says Yahweh? Thus says El Shaddai, when you were in the wilderness at the bitter stream, thirsty and blaspheming my name, I did not send fire upon you for your blasphemies, but threw a tree in the water and made the stream sweet. So, do we whine and complain when things get tough? 1 Peter 4, 12 through 14, Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal or trial which comes upon you to prove you, as though something strange were happening to you, but rejoice in so far as you are to share Messiah's sufferings, that you may also rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed. If you are reproached for the name of Mashiach, you are blessed, because the spirit of glory and of Elohim rests upon you. And remember, Sirach, or this is Sirach 2, but a different verse. For gold is tested in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of humiliation. So when times get tough, let us not fret. Let us know that our Elohim sees all things. 1 Peter 1, 3 through 7, Blessed be the Elohim and Father of our Adonai, Yahushua HaMashiach. By his great mercy we have been born anew to a living hope through the resurrection of Yahushua HaMashiach from the dead, and to an inheritance which is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, kept in heaven for you, who by Elohim's power are guarded through faith for a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. In this you rejoice, though now for a little while you may have to suffer various trials, just like the people in the wilderness suffered various trials. Are we going to whine and complain, or are we going to zip it and trust in Yah? So that the genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold, which though perishable is tested by fire, may redound to praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Yahusha. Now, Paul kind of brings it together here in 1 Corinthians 10, 1 through 14. I want you to know, brethren, that our fathers were all under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And all ate the same supernatural food, and all drank the same supernatural drink. For they drank from the supernatural rock which followed them, and the rock was Messiah. Nevertheless, with most of them Elohim was not pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now, these things are a warning for us, not to desire evil as they did. Do not be idolaters as some of them were. As it is written, the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to dance. That's when they had the golden calf. We must not indulge in immorality as some of them did. And 23,000 fell in a single day. We must not put Yahweh to the test as some of them did and were destroyed by serpents. Nor grumble as some of them did and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now these things happened to them as a warning, but they were written down for our instruction, upon whom the end of the ages has come. Therefore let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. Elohim is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your strength, but with the temptation will also provide the way of the escape, that you may be able to endure it. Therefore, my beloved, shun the worship of idols. Brothers and sisters, the wilderness experience in the Torah is an example for us. Are we going to grumble and complain when a little bit of testing comes our way, or are we going to prove faithful? Numbers 14:5. Then Moshe and Aharon fell on their faces before all the assembly of the multitude of the children of Yisrael. Right? So Moshe hears the complaining, and Aharon are like, oh my, they're like, oh, they get on their face. And Yahusha, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Yefuneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. They spoke unto all the company of the children of Yisrael, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If Yahweh delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it us, a land which flows in milk and honey. Right? Whatever you're going through, the same Elohim that would have delivered them had they just listened will deliver us from all of our trials, even if he doesn't answer in the timing that you hope for and expect. Only rebel not against Yahweh, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahweh is with us. Fear them not. Right? So, why are we fearing the people of this earth? Sure, they want to do harm to us, and sure, we need to keep ourselves from it, but why are we fearing it? Why is that what we dwell on? Oh, they're coming for us. I can't my headphones. Why? Why? They're going to be food for us. Not food, but they're going to be put in our hands. I believe that we're the generation that all these things will be put into our hands. We'll inherit the kingdom, and I believe that we're the ones that Yahweh will give the sword to. These evil people that run the world that want to jab you with a jabby jab and stick stuff up your nose and face and mouth and give you rotten food and poisonous food, they're going to get theirs. Watch. Enoch 98. And now I swear unto you, to the wise and to the foolish, for you shall have manifold experiences on the earth. For ye men shall put on more adornments than a woman, and colored garments more than a virgin, and royalty, and in grandeur, and in power, and in silver, and in gold, and purple, and in splendor, and in food, they shall be poured out as water. Therefore, they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom. So these people, these rich, they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom, and they shall perish thereby together with their possessions, and with all their glory, and with all their splendor, and in shame, and in slaughter, and in great destitution. Their spirits shall be cast into the furnace of fire. I have sworn unto you, you sinners, as a mountain has not become a slave, and a hill does not become the handmaid of a woman, even so sin has not been sent upon the earth, but man of himself has created it. And under a great curse shall they fall who commit it. And barrenness has not been given to the woman, but on account of the deeds of her own hands she dies without children. And I have sworn unto you, sinners, by the Holy Great One, that all your evil deeds are revealed in the heavens, and that none of your deeds of oppression are covered and hidden. Do not think in your spirit, nor say in your heart that you do not know, and that you did not see that every sin is every day recorded in heaven in the presence of the Most High. From henceforth ye know that all your oppression wherewith ye oppress is written down every day till the day of your judgment. Woe to you, you fools! For through your folly ye shall perish, and ye transgress against the wise, and so good hap should not be your portion. And now know that you are prepared for the day of destruction. Wherefore do not hope to live, ye sinners, but ye shall depart and die, for ye know no ransom. For you are prepared for the day of the great judgment, for the day of tribulation and shame for your spirits. Woe unto you, ye obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and eat blood. Yeah, these Satanists, they eat blood, right? These sickos with their child rings and trafficking and drinking blood, right? Woe to you, woe to them. They're going to get theirs. Don't fear them. Watch this. Watch what the Most High is going to do with these people. Woe to you who work wickedness and eat blood. Whence have you good things to eat and drink and be filled, right? He's got all these tasty things on the earth, and you got to go drink blood? From all the good things which Yahweh the Most High has placed in abundance on the earth, therefore you shall have no peace. Woe to you who love the deeds of unrighteousness. Wherefore do you hope for good happen to yourselves? Know that you shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous, and they shall cut off your necks and slay you, and have no mercy upon you. Isaiah 41:14-15. Fear not, you worm of Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help you, says Yahweh, and your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I will make you a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. The same thing he was going to do with the people. If the spies had all come back and give a good report, they were going to go over, kill all these giants, make them a threshing instrument. Right? He's going to give the sinners over into the hands of the righteous. Micah 4:13. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hoofs brass, and you shall beat in pieces many people. Zechariah 9:13-14. When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Greece, and made you as the sword of a mighty man, and Yahweh shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and Yahweh shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with the whirlwinds of the south. So Judah, Ephraim are his weapons of war. Joel 2:7-11. They shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city, they shall run upon the wall, they shall climb upon the houses, they shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executes his word, for the day of Yahweh is very great and terrible. Who can live in it? Don't worry, brothers and sisters. Their day and our day is coming. Numbers 14:10. But all the assembly bade stones to stone them, and the glory of Yahweh appeared in the tabernacle of the assembly before all the children of Yisrael. Right? So the children of Israel wanted to stone Moshe, Aharon, Joshua, Caleb. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, how long will this people provoke me? How long will it be before they believe me? For all the signs which I have showed them, I will smite them with pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make you a greater nation and mightier than they. Think about it. Think about what's happening right now. These people want to stone Moshe, and they've murmured at him. They've provoked Moshe so much. Moshe could have just been like, you know what? You're right. These people are not good. Let's start over. Kill him. Let's start over. You and me, Yahweh. Let's do it. Me and you. But no, Yah chose Moshe for a reason. He was the meekest man of the earth. He was humble. And Moshe interceded for the people. And Moshe said unto El Yahweh, then the Mitzrayim shall hear it, for you brought up this people with your might from among them. And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that you, Yahweh, are among this people, that you, Yahweh, are seen face to face, and that your cloud stands over them, and that you go before them by daytime in a pillar of cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you shall kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard your fame of you will speak, saying, because Yahweh was not able to bring this people into the land which he swore unto them, therefore he has slain them in the wilderness. And now, I beseech you, Let the power of my Adonai be great, according as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Moshe quotes Exodus 34, 6-7 on that. So Moshe remembered. He's like, I know what you said to me. Pardon, I beseech you, the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of your mercy, and as you have forgiven this people from Mitzrayim even until now. And Yahweh said, I have pardoned according to your word, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of Yahweh. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Mitzrayim and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swore unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that proved me see it, but my servant Caleb, because he had another Ruach with him. And he has followed me truly. Him will I bring to the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Now, the Amalekim and the Canaanim dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow, turn you, and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And Yahweh, so it says that, what is it, verse 22, that the people of Israel, the seed of Abraham, tempted him 10 times. What's interesting, in the book of Jubilees, do I have it here? In the book of Jubilees, throughout chapters 17 and 19, it said that Abraham had 10 tests, and Abraham was found faithful in all 10 tests. So, unfortunately, this generation failed all 10 tests. They tested him. They tested Yahweh 10 times. And, if we're to be the seed of Abraham, we're supposed to do the deeds of Abraham, as Yahusha said in John 8:39. Now, so Numbers 14:25. Now the Amalekim and the Canaanim dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow, turn you, and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And Yahweh spoke unto El Moshe and unto El Aharon, saying, How long shall I bear with this evil assembly, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Yisrael, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, As truly as I live, says Yahweh, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless you shall not come into the land concerning which I swore to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Yahusha the son of Nun. Think about this. This is the same Elohim we served. He changes not. Malachi 3:6 maybe. Malachi 3. He says that I do not change. This is the same Elohim we serve now. And I'm telling you, this whole wilderness experience is it was a test for them and an example for us, lest we fall of the same example of unbelief. Read Hebrews 4 if you want to learn a little more about it. Read all of Hebrews 4. The whole wilderness was a testing, and it was to be an example for us. How dare we murmur? And I'm talking to myself here. How dare we murmur and backbite, and how dare we not trust Yahweh that He will deliver small things? Verse 31, But your little ones, which you said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, ye shall bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise. I, Yahweh, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil assembly that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and they shall be idle. And it's interesting because the people came against Moshe, which was the emissary, the messenger of Yahweh. So coming against Moshe was coming against Yahweh. Right? Actually, no, working on that. Okay. Numbers 14:36. And the men which Moshe sent to search the land, who returned and made all the assembly to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before Yahweh. But Yahusha, it's really interesting how they died. The Targums gives us a graphic detail of how they died. But Yahusha the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, lived still. And Moshe told these sayings unto all the children of Yisrael, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and got them up to the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and we will go up to the place which Yahweh has promised, for we have sinned. And Moshe said, Wherefore now do you transgress the commandment of Yahweh? But it shall not prosper. Go not up, for Yahweh is not among you, that ye be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekim and the Cananim are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword. Because you are turned away from Yahweh, therefore Yahweh will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the top of the hill. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh and Moshe departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekim came down, and the Cananim which dwelt in that hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah. Which Hormah means broken rock, banned, or devoted to destruction. Later, they did get victory here. Numbers 21, 1 through 3. And when the king Arad, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard tell that Israel came by the way of the spies, then he fought against Israel, and took some of them prisoners. And Israel vowed a vow unto Yahweh, and said, If you will indeed deliver this people into my hand, then will I utterly destroy their cities. And Yahweh hearkened to the voice of Israel, and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities, and he called the name of the place Hormah. So I want to read the last two paragraphs of chapter 14 in the Targums. Some interesting stuff here. Let's see. Okay, so this one and this one. Okay. But the men whom Moshe had sent to explore the land, and who, returning, had made the whole congregation murmur against him by bringing forth an evil report of the land, even those men who had brought forth the evil report of the land died on the 7th day of the month Elul, with worms coming from their navels, and with worms devouring their tongues. This is actually just like we see in Acts when, was it Herod spoke? And he was consumed by worms. Anyways, and were buried in death from before Yahweh. Only Yahusha bar Nun and Caleb bar Yephuneh survived those men who had gone to explore the land. And Moshe spake these words with all the sons of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they arose in the morning, and went to the top of the mountain, saying, Behold, we will go up to the place of which Yahweh has spoken, for we have sinned. But Moshe said, Why will you act against the decree of the word of Yahweh? But it will not prosper with you. Go not up, for Yahweh's Shekinah dwelleth not among you, and the ark, the tabernacle, and the cloud of glory proceeded not. And be not crushed before your enemies, for the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there prepared for you, and you will fall slaughtered by the sword. For because you have turned away from the service of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh will not be your helper. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, these Targums are a gem. But they armed themselves, and the rest is the same. So, okay. All right, so for Numbers 15, we're actually just going to read the Targums. Pardon me. Okay, sorry. Numbers 15, and Yahweh, and we're reading out of the Targums exclusively on this one. And Yahweh spake with Moshe, saying, Speak with the sons of Israel, and say to them, When you have entered into the land of your habitation which I will give you, and you make an oblation upon the altar before Yahweh, burnt offering or consecrated sacrifice for release of a vow, or by a freewill offering, or the time of your feast, you will offer what is acceptable to Yahweh of the world, to be received with approval before Yahweh from the herd or from the flock. Let the man who offers his oblation before Yahweh bring a mincha of 1/10 of a flour mingled with 1/4 of a hinna of olive oil, and wine of grapes for a libation, 1/4 of a hinna to be made upon the burnt offering or hallowed sacrifice for one lamb, or for a ram. Let him perform a mincha of 2/10 of flour mingled with 1/3 of a hin of olive oil, and wine of grapes. Let him offer in a vase for the libation, 1/3 of a hin to be received with acceptance before Yahweh. But when he maketh a bullock a burnt offering, or a sacrifice for a release from a vow, or a hallowed sacrifice before Yahweh, let him bring for the bullock a mincha of 3/10 of flour, mingled with 1/2 a hin of olive oil, and wine of grapes 1/2 a hin for libation to be received with acceptance before Yahweh. So let him do with each bullock, with each ram, and each lamb, whether it be from the lambs of the kids, according to the number of the bullocks, or lambs, or goats, with which the oblation is to be made, so shall you do, each according to their number. all who are native born in Israel, and not the sons of the nations, so make these libations and offerings and oblation to be received with acceptance before Yahweh. And when a sojourner who sojourns with you, or whoever is among you now or in your generations, will bring an oblation to be received with favor before Yahweh, as you do, so shall he. For the whole congregation there is one statute, for you and for the sojourner who sojourneth. It is an everlasting statute for your generations. As with you, so shall it be with the sojourner before Yahweh. One law and one judgment shall be for you and the sojourner who sojourns with you. So, we have to realize that Yahweh wanted all people to serve, wanted all of man to serve him. And let's read Jubilees 7, and starting at verse 20. And in the 28th Jubilee, Noach began to adjoin upon his sons the ordinances and commandments and all the judgments that he knew, and exhorted his sons to observe righteousness and to cover the shame of their flesh, and to bless their Creator, and to honor father and mother, and to love neighbor, and to guard their souls from fornication and uncleanness and all iniquity. And it goes on of all the things they taught, saying that the Nephilim brought down sin and men loved it. Yahweh destroyed everything, right? And we were left, I, you, and my sons, and everything that was entered with us into the ark. And behold, I see your works before me, that you do not walk in righteousness. For in the path of destruction you have begun to walk, and you are parting one from another, and are envious one of another. And so it comes that you are not in harmony, my sons, each with his brother. Anyways, and so it just goes on to say that, here, verse 34, now my children, hearken, work judgment and righteousness, that you may be planted in righteousness over the face of the whole earth, and your glory lifted up before my Elohim, who saved me from the waters of the flood. Right? So, anyways, Yah gave every single race, because every race came from the sons of Noah. Noah taught his sons righteousness. His sons decided to walk away. Right? So, Yah gave everybody a chance. He's always wanted everybody to be part of the family. To Ezra 7:19-24. And he said to me, you are not a better judge than Elohim, or wiser than the Most High. Let many perish now who are living, rather than the Torah of Elohim, which is set before them, be disregarded. For Elohim strictly commanded those who came into the world when they came what they should do to live, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. And we know that came through Noah. All the sons heard it. Nevertheless, they were not obedient and spoke against him. They devised for themselves vain thoughts and proposed to themselves wicked frauds. They even declared that the Most High does not exist, and they ignored his ways. They scorned his laws and denied his covenants, and they have been unfaithful to his statutes and not performed his works. Back to Numbers. And Yahweh spake with Moshe, saying, speak with the sons of Israel, and say to them, when you have entered the land into which I will bring you, and you eat the bread of the produce of it, not rice, nor millet, nor pulse, you shall set apart a separation before Yahweh. Of the first of your dough, 1 cake of 24, you shall set apart a separation for the priest, as with the separation from the threshing floor, so shall you set it apart. Of the first of your dough, you shall give a separation before Yahweh in your generations. And you should have, and should you have erred and not performed some one of all these commandments which Yahweh has spoken with Moshe, whatsoever Yahweh has commanded you by Moshe from the day he commanded it, and thenceforth unto your generations, if without the knowledge of the congregation sin has been committed through ignorance, let all the congregation make one young bullock a burnt offering to be received with acceptance before Yahweh, with his mincha and libation, as are proper, and 1 kid of the goats without mixture for a sin offering. And let the priest make atonement for all the congregation of the sons of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it was an error. And they have brought their oblation, an offering before Yahweh, even an offering for their sin have they presented before Yahweh for their error. And all the congregation of Israel shall be forgiven before Yahweh, and all the sojourners who have sojourned among them, for an error has occurred to the people. If any one man sin through ignorance, let him bring 1 goat of the year without mixture for a sin offering, and let the priest make atonement for the man who has erred in sinning through ignorance before Yahweh, to atone for him, that it may be forgiven him, as well as for the native born of the children of Israel, and for the strangers who sojourn among you. There shall be one Torah for him who transgresses through ignorance. But a man who transgresseth with presumption, whether of the native born or strangers, and who turneth not away from his sin before Yahweh, he causes anger, and that man shall perish from among his people. For the primal word which Yahweh commanded on Mount Sinai he has despised, and he has made the commandment of circumcision vain. With destruction in this world, that man shall be destroyed. So again, don't let anybody tell you that circumcision's done away with. I really believe I am pro Paul again now, but I believe that some things were inserted in his letters, like circumcision, doing away with circumcision. I don't believe that's to be true. In the world that cometh shall he give account of his sin in the great day of judgment. Because he despised the word of Yahweh and broken his commandments, that soul shall perish and bear his sins. And while the sons of Israel were dwelling in the wilderness, the decree of the Shabbat was known to them, but the punishment for the profanation of the Shabbat was not known. And there arose a man of the house of Joseph, and said within himself, I will go and pull up wood on the Sabbath day. And witnesses saw it, and told Moshe. And Moshe sought instruction from the presence of Yahweh, that he might teach me judgment, and make known the discipline of all the house of Israel. And the witnesses of the men who pulled up and collected the wood came, and after they had admonished him, and he had wounded the witnesses who had found him pulling up wood, or it says here stealing wood, which is interesting. Did he take wood like from the pile that the Levites had? Because I'm sure the Levites had wood stacked up to keep the fire going, right? So that might have been really the big part of the sin here. Brought him into Moshe and Aharon and all the congregation. This one of 4 judgments which were brought before Moshe the prophet, which he had judged according to the word of the holy. Of these judgments, some related to money and some to life. In the judgments regarding money, Moshe was prompt, so quick. But in the affecting of life, he was deliberate, slow. And in each he said, I have not heard to teach the princes of the future Sanhedrin to be prompt in decisions of mammon and deliberate in those that involve life, nor to be ashamed to inquire for counsel in what may be difficult. For as much as Moshe, the master of Israel, himself had need to say, I have not heard, therefore put they him in confinement, because they had not yet heard of the explanation of the judgment that should be executed upon him. And so, the gatherer of the sticks, we should do all of our preparations on Shabbat. We don't need to be, we shouldn't, in our modern day, we shouldn't be going out chopping wood on Shabbat or even collecting it. It should be done. That should be collected. So it's not necessarily the fire, because people, when it's cold, need fire to keep themselves warm. Imagine that, in the wee hours of the night, people might want to study the Torah. Having a flame in the house is not a bad thing. Cooking your food, right? We need food daily. Their daily bread. They ate food every day, right? They didn't eat leftovers. They ate fresh bread every day. They milled their bread freshly every day. And Yahweh said to Moshe, the man shall be surely put to death. So my point is either the great transgression was that he stole the wood, or that the wood was going to be used for some sort of occupation, which many occupations back then needed fire. And Yahweh said to Moshe, the man shall be surely put to death, and the whole congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And the congregation led him forth without the camp, and stoned him with stones, that he died, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, speak with the sons of Israel, and bid them make for themselves fringes, not of threads, nor of yarns, nor of fibers, but after the manner of their own leshumon. There shall they make them, and they shall cut off the heads of their filaments, and suspend by 5 ligatures, 4 in the midst of 3, upon the 4 corners of their garment, in which they enwrap themselves, unto their generations. And they shall put upon the edge of their robes an embroidery of a hyacinth. And let them make themselves fringes for the edges of their robes throughout their generations, and put upon the fringes of their robes an embroidery of hyacinth. And this shall be to you a precept for fringes, that you may look upon them at the time when you dress yourselves daily, and remember all my commandments to do them, and not go aside to wander after your imaginations of your heart, in the sight of your eyes, after which you have gone astray, to the end that you may remember and perform all my precepts. and be holy like the angels who minister before Yahweh your Elohim. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who have delivered and brought you free out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your Elohah. So, let's see. Can I show you here? I don't know if I can. Just in case you're new and you're like, what's a tzitzit? So, here on my pants, I put them on a belt loops here. I've got 4 of these, which are called tzitzit, right? These are called, oh, you couldn't hear me. So, those were tzitzit, and most people just put them on their belt loops, 4 of them. So, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And they just hang down, and it's supposed to remind you of the commandments. Now, what's interesting is most of us are brought up to believe that the commandments look like this, like stone, like bland, like blah. But in fact, they're sapphires. So you get the throne of Yahweh, which is sapphire blue. You have the firmament of heaven, which is sapphire blue. You have the commandments, which are sapphire blue, and that's why you're supposed to have blue on your tzitzit to remind you of the commandments, to not go astray. And like all of the things, like the Shabbat, the feast days, they're for eternity. Well, the tzitzit are too. If you don't wearing tzitzit, I would highly encourage you. We're supposed to walk as Messiah walked. Matthew. Where is it at? Where is it? Okay. Matthew 9, verse 19. And Yahusha arose and followed him, his taught ones too. And see, a woman who had a flow of blood for 12 years came from behind and touched the tzitzit of his garment. So Yahusha wore tzitzit. We're supposed to walk as he walked. So I would highly encourage you to wear tzitzit if you're not wearing tzitzit. If you don't even know where to get tzitzit, Sister Sierra Grant, Jake's wife, makes them. And I'll leave the information in the description box and in the as a pinned comment if you want to get some tzitzit from her. Don't do it on the Shabbat, please. So again, we're supposed to walk as he walked. And, the tzitzit thing reminds me of the story of Naaman. Let me just read a quick little passage from Naaman from 2 Kings 5, 10 through 14. So just to catch you up, Naaman was a general in the Assyrian army, great man, but he got leprosy, and he could not be cleansed of his leprosy. But he heard that in Israel there's a prophet from one of the servant girls, from the Hebrew servant girls that he took as to be a worker in his home. She told him about Elisha, that he could probably heal it. And so Naaman's desperate. He's like, I'm going to go to Israel. So Naaman and his people and his crew get to Elisha, and he's like, come on, help me out. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh shall come again to you, and you shall be clean. But Naaman was wroth and went away and said, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call in the name of his Elohim and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper. Are not Abana and the Parfar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in rage. And his servants came near and spake to him and said, my father, if the prophet had bid you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? Like you need to go to the Himalayan mountains and get the salt from there and bring it, and then you got to go to this other continent and grab this thing and bring it to me, and we'll put it together and we'll heal you. He probably would have done it, right? How much rather then when he says to you, wash and be clean? Then he went down and dipped himself in the 7 times in the Jordan, according to the sayings of the man of Elohim, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. Why? The reason I bring this up is because Elisha told him to do the smallest little thing. Just go dip 7 times in the Jordan. And Naaman was like, no way, this is too... Hey, wear some strings from your pants, and it's a commandment, and keep it. And it will remind you of my commandments. Oh, no way, you've gone too far. Well, that leads right into next week. Right after the commandment for tzitzit is when Korah and the rebellion happens. You've gone too far. They didn't say, we don't want tzitzits. But I mean, it's interesting. Right after the commandment of the tzitzits, Korah's like, no. So, very interesting. There's something I want to share with you, just a visual. Hang on. This is from Brother Zach at my house. Pretty cool visual. You've got the stone tablets, right, in sapphire. You've got the throne sapphire, the firmaments in sapphire, and the tzitzit are in sapphire. That's why there's a commandment to have blue in it, in my opinion, of course. So, any case. Well, brothers and sisters, that's our Torah portion for this week. So, truly, what did we learn from here? To not fear, to trust in Yahweh, to do what He asks us to do. Wear tzitzit. Don't murmur, don't grumble, and it'll be well with us. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, O Yahweh, we bless You and thank You for waking us up in these last days, for sending Your Son, Your Word, that we may have life, for teaching us Your awesome commandments, that we may walk in them. We love You. We thank You, and we ask You to continue to refine us, that we may walk the narrow path and to do what's right in Your sight, O Yahweh. We bless You and thank You for all You do. In Yahushua's name, Amen. Brothers and sisters, enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. As you can probably tell, this is a pre-recording. If you're watching this live as a pre-recording, it's now, at least in the calendar I follow, officially Shavuot. So happy Shavuot to you. No, excuse me. No, wrong. Okay, this is going Friday night, not Saturday night. Zip all that. Sorry about that. I'm thinking I'm pre-recording it for Saturday night, but this is for Friday night. I am so sorry. So now if you're watching this, it's nighttime, Friday night. The Shabbat started. So tomorrow night, Saturday night, starts Shavuot, at least on the calendar that I follow. So we'll have a stream going on tomorrow night on Shavuot. So blessings to you, and look forward to seeing you all one day in the kingdom of Elohim, where we can sit down and praise Yahweh with song and rejoice in all that He's done for us. In the meantime, we'll do it here on this earth in the midst of darkness and craziness and whatever else. As the darkness gets darker, let the light shine brighter. Shabbat shalom, brothers and sisters. Much love to you, and we'll see you soon. Let's do this one. יברכך יחוה וישמרך יאר יחוה פניו לך וחונקה יישא יחוה פניו לך לך שלום יישא יחוה פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום ויעשה לך שלום ויעשה לך שלום. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuwah
his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Why do you spend all your labor for what does not satisfy you? No, come, he says, oh come, he says, for those who thirst and hunger, oh yeah. He told you what is good, oh man, but to walk before him humbly and confess his son, the way, the truth, and the life. He is the fountain of life. Yahushua and all I want to hear is well done, my faithful servant. So all I want to do is your will, for we're your remnant. So all we want to hear is well done, my faithful servants. So all we want to do is your will, for we're your remnant. New Yerushalayim it is coming, oh it's coming. The vine is sprung, the branch is tender, and the fruit is finally showing. Where will you be on that day? Oh, will you be able to enter? Are you wise or are you foolish? Keep his ways until the finish. Yahuwah Tebaot, and all I want to hear is well done, my faithful servant. So all I want to do is your will, for we're your remnant. So all we want to hear is well done, my faithful servants. So all